What is going on, guys? Johnny on the track back with another video. We've got Richmond this weekend, which should be a lot of fun. I expect it. I mean, if you watched last weekend's race with Kyle Larson, with Denny Hamlin, you could throw Alex Bowman's name, Ryan Preece, and Corey LaJoie. I mean, there was a lot that happened. The biggest of those being the Larson and Hamlin incident. But that was a badass race. I mean, that was a really, really good race. We had, hard racing at the end. We had a great crowd. We had drama. We had a good finish. We won bets. So, everything last weekend was great. Looking to carry that momentum into Richmond this week. And I think Richmond is going to be a heck of a, just a crazy race. I think a lot of people are going to scratch and claw to try to lock themselves into the playoffs. I think, some of those Fords on the wrong side of the cut line, you look at a guy like Chase Briscoe, maybe I know Chris Buescher's in the playoffs, but still looking for a win. He's kind of in sort of a perhaps still maybe a must win, depending on if we get some extras winning those road courses later. But yeah, you look at guys like I said, Chase Briscoe, a Chris Buescher, an Eric Almirola, Ryan Preece. I think guys like that, an Austin Dillon, like these guys look at a track like Richmond as one that they might be able to steal a win. Road courses for some of those guys, probably not where they would see a win. So it's Richmond or Daytona at this point. And I think with that, aggression levels are going to be high. A lot of tempers are, in my opinion, going to carry over from last weekend. So, should be excited. But real quick, before I get into my bets, I just wanted to announce, very excited, happy these guys reached out to me. This is a really cool opportunity to get in partnership with these guys. But we have a new partner of the show. You'll see the logo. You see it here, obviously, in the corner there. New partner, NASCAR Betting Preview Show. Derek Yoder and the guys on that show. They had me on, I want to say, what was that, 2 weeks ago now for New Hampshire. It's a really, really awesome show. It airs Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard on Twitter Spaces. And then you could find the actual podcast on the podcast, on all podcast streaming platforms. It's just a fun environment. It's a bunch of people that are getting together on a Twitter space to talk bets. So if you enjoy what I do, you'll definitely enjoy that show. In no way, shape, or form, do I look at any of this stuff as competition. I look at it as we want to build a community, right? And the more people that are involved in the community, the more people that are sharing bets, giving out opinions, and sharing, what we know best, right? Like that's how we continue to grow this. And that's how everybody kind of grows together, because in terms of NASCAR betting, this stuff is definitely still new. So yep, like I said, NASCAR Betting Preview Show airs Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitter Spaces. Make sure you follow at NASCAR BPS on Twitter to see kind of the show and whatnot, follow along, get the links and all that. And then as well as at Derek Yoder _, that's at DEREKYODER on Twitter. Same thing. He live tweets during the show. So, you'll see matchups, you'll see outrights, top fives, top 10. So a lot of stuff we do. It's always good to get more minds and get more data, right? Like that's what we're all looking for. So together we're, like I said, we're building a community. Happy to be a part of them. With that, I also now will be a podcast as well. I know I call this a podcast. I call it my own betting show, right? But I will be on the NASCAR betting preview show podcast feed. So, just more people watching, right? So if you do find this on the podcast side of things, also know that you could find me on YouTube, Johnny on the Track on YouTube, and then on Twitter at JOTT_podcast for all my bets and whatnot, as well as Johnny on the Track on Action Network. So ton of exciting news. I went over a lot. That might make this episode a little longer than usual, but this is awesome news. So I'm excited to share this with everybody. All right, with that, let's get into the bets this week for Richmond. So the first race, obviously, Larson won. Larson and Byron were the class of the field. And like I said, I expect this race to be crazy. I think there's a lot of those Fords kind of below the cut line or maybe just above it that think they have a good shot to win here. I think even a guy like Bubba Wallace, thinks that this is a track that he can win at. So, like I said, aggression levels probably will be high. I think strategy calls are going to be aggressive. I think there's going to be a lot here. So, we'll get right into it. My number one bet this week is Kyle Larson at plus 650. I think he's pissed off. I think we can tell that. I love, love, love this bet. I even like the number at plus 650. Could we get it closer to 750? Sure, but I'll take 650. I'm even going to add an exacta bet. If you don't know what an exacta bet is, it's basically you pick the first and second place finisher in that specific order. So the guy that finishes first and the guy that finishes second. Then there's a quinella bet, which is just, you pick the top two. It doesn't matter where they finish. But I'm going to do exacta. I'm going to add Larson finishing first and Hamlin finishing second. I feel like something like this is just it's bound to happen with all the crap that these two have kind of have done to each other this year, and more Hamlin on that end. But Larson did kind of, after this happened, shove Denny into the wall. So although they're friends, there's obviously a lot of competitive nature there, and these guys definitely, as much as they like each other off the track, I don't think they like each other on the track right now. Larson, one of the second fastest, I should say, car in the first Richmond race. He's been very good on short flats this year, which is what Richmond is. So I really like this bet. Like I said, I'm going to add a little something on that exacta. Second guy I'm looking at is Ross Chastain to win, plus 1,500. I think that's really good value here for the fifth fastest car at Richmond earlier this season. He wasn't good in a late run. He was not good in a late run, but I do think they'll learn from that. Like I said, I think this is going to be an aggressive style race. I think that plays into Ross Chastain's racing style well. I think they could make, maybe that call that puts them up front. And I think Ross Chastain is a guy that's tough to pass, and also a guy that is not afraid to, get a little feisty to pass. So plus 1,500 for Ross Chastain. I think that's a really, really solid number to get him at, especially on this track. Third guy, Christopher Bell, plus 650. I think Bell's due for a win. I think this sort of track is right up his alley. He was fast here earlier this season. I believe he was the fourth fastest car. He's been fast on short tracks and in general throughout his career. I think he's a very safe bet this weekend. I think it's a safe bet to go with Bell plus 650. Don't be trying to get the huge win here with Bell. I think maybe that's a Chastain or maybe that's a Larson, but I do think Bell is that bet that, you stay safe, you perhaps win your money back, maybe a little something more than that. So Christopher Bell, I think he's going to be fast here. Then I'm going to go to Hendrick to win. Obviously I love Larson. Like I said, I like Byron. He was the fastest car overall, didn't end up, winning, had a kind of a tough blow there to the end of things. But obviously I think he's going to be fast. Like I said, Larson, don't count out Bowman. I like Bowman. I have a bet on Bowman. I don't know, if I want to give that out on this show, because the number, it tells me that, I don't know. It tells me that the odds makers are not feeling Bowman this weekend, but I like Bowman. I think he has a good history on this track. He was fast here earlier this year. He's slowly making strides post his injury. It looked like he was going to get his first top 10 post injury last week. It didn't happen. But Bowman has won here before. He has a good history on this track. I'm going to give it out. Bowman to win as well. Do that. But Hendrick, going back to Hendrick to win. Byron and Larson, you add Bowman. Then you have Chase Elliott, who I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls perhaps a rabbit out of his hat, especially since, if you remember, Josh Berry finished second here earlier this season. So I think Hendrick is going to be tough to beat. I do not believe they're the favorites. I think that's Joe Gibbs Racing this week. But Hendrick to win, I think that number is right around plus 250, if I'm not mistaken. So I think Hendrick is going to be tough to beat this weekend. Some extra bets here. Harvick top 5 plus 110. He's top 5 in, or I should say he was top 5 in green flag speed for most of the race this season. He finished 5th in the first race this season at Richmond. He's a machine at this track. It's a lot like him in Phoenix. Him and Richmond go hand in hand. He loves this track. Has, I think, right around a 4.5 average finish since 2018 at this track. So he's a very good race car driver at Richmond. So I like Harvick here. Maybe the number shifts closer plus 200 depending on where he qualifies, but I think if you can get that at plus money, it's a good solid bet to take. A top 10 for Chris Buescher plus 250. If overall Buescher's right around a 12th to 15th, place driver at short flats this year. But the interesting note about Buescher at the first Richmond race is he was actually the fastest driver late in a run here. So I think there's something there. I think there's something there where a guy like Chris Buescher, he needs to continue to just have good, solid finishes to continue to build that points gap. But also, like I said, he might still be going for a win. I mean, he's not really locked in yet, even though he has a good points cushion. He's probably feeling still with those road courses in Daytona that he needs to win. I mean, you look at a guy like Allmendinger, he could win at one of these road courses coming up. You look at a guy like McDowell, another guy that could possibly win. Bubba Wallace next weekend at Michigan. You think of guys like Austin Dillon and Eric Almirola late at Daytona. So Chris Buescher, in his mind, I think he's still looking, that he needs to win. I feel like there's going to be, that sense of urgency for him. And I think he has a good run because of it. And like I said, I like that nugget of fastest late in a run here earlier this season. And then finally, I'm going to go with a Chase Briscoe top 10 plus 195. It's a strange number to see his top 10 at plus 195 when, and I'm trying to get this up here, when his outright number is plus 7,500. But I actually think, hold on. I apologize here. I want to get the right numbers for you all. When he opened at plus 10,000 to win. So I think a lot of people looked at Chase Briscoe as possibly a guy that could make some noise. Short flats this year has been the only thing that team has been able to hang their hats on, or heads on, however you say that phrase. I don't know, but whatever. Chase Briscoe at short flats has been very, very good this season. It's been kind of interesting. If you look overall, just going really quick to the numbers here. 7th at Phoenix, 10th at New Hampshire, didn't have a good run at Gateway, but finished 5th at Martinsville, 12th earlier at Richmond. So shorter tracks, flatter tracks have really been where this team has shined this year. So it's like I said, I mean, I would have expected the number to be closer to probably like plus 400 with the lack of results that this team has been able to get this year. But I do think that bet is a safe bet to go with here. And over his career in general, in the Xfinity Series, he's had really good runs at Richmond. So I wouldn't count him out. Maybe he's a long shot bet. And I actually would say perhaps a pull bet on Chase Briscoe. I think this team's gonna come with some speed this weekend. So those are the bets. We'll start from the top. Larson to win, Chastain to win, Bell to win, Hendrick to win. I said Bowman. I gave Bowman out to win. Harvick top 5, Buescher top 10, Briscoe top 10. One more guy real quick, Truex. If he comes out and he's fast in practice and he's fast in qualifying, I would bet Truex. I think at this point, when Denny Hamlin said it best, when that team unloads the car and has speed, you can't beat them. And Truex, obviously, very, very solid race car driver on Richmond. So if that's the case, I would probably look to bet Truex as well. But I feel confident this weekend. I think we've got a lot of good bets. We're coming off a great weekend last weekend with the Ty Gibbs top 10, the Eric Jones top 10, and obviously the Denny Hamlin win. So very fortunate to get those wins, and I think we can build on it with a top 5, some top 10s, and a winner. And we'll have a hell of a go. It'd be crazy if we hit Larson, we hit the Hendrick to win, we hit the Harvick top 5, and we hit both those top 10s. That would be absolutely insane. Knock on the wood, cross the fingers. Let's have a weekend at Richmond. As always, at JOTT_podcast on Twitter for all my bets, for all my tweets, for all my hot takes, all that stuff. Johnny on the Track on Action Network for the betting card. And like I said, appreciate the guys. NASCAR betting preview show every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitter Spaces. Make sure you follow at NASCAR BPS on Twitter, to stay updated with the show. Want to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking this weekend at Richmond. Do you think it's going to be a crazy race? I sure do. But want to know what you guys think, and like this video. It goes a long way for the channel. Thanks, guys. Talked a lot. There was a lot here, but a fun one. Let's win some bets on Sunday.